2025. It's January 8th, and this is Federico's agent AI bot. No, I'm joking. I'm the actual Federico for now. I mean, for maybe in a few months when the agent economy starts, to become a bit more developed, and we can use, new technologies for voice recognition and voice creation. I mean, I can just send my bot into different languages to do different, simultaneous, community calls to expand to different places. But for now, it's me. So this is the first call, as I said, of 2025. And well, as I said the other day in the Spanish call, we do every Monday, every 2 weeks. So the past year, 2024, was extremely good for Kleros in the sense that lots of different things that we have been working for a long time started to converge in, a number of things. So one of the main topics of last year was the launch of a beta version of Kleros 2.0. As you know, we have been working on this for years. The version 1.0 was launched in 2019, and after that, we did lots of research in better decision-making logics, for example, for having ranked choices for jurors, numerical values, also the development of layer 2s in the Ethereum ecosystem means that Kleros can be built in a way more efficient and cheaper way to use, which is great for using the platform for resolving more like low value disputes. So the first version of Kleros was extremely expensive for addressing consumer claims that are for a few $100s, maybe a few thousand. But now that we have launched the V2, then we can address a wider number of disputes. So what does this mean? So last year we have had a lot of progress in what we call Kleros Enterprise, which is the use of Kleros in order to resolve disputes happening in what we could say, the real world. Even if these days one doesn't know what is real or not, if you see, every day, Twitter. But let's call it real world in the sense of disputes happening in fintech companies, insurance companies, in governments. So this was an extremely important development from last year. The main customer or partner we have for this type of use case is Lemon, which, as you know, is a fintech cryptocurrency company that started using Kleros for resolving disputes between the company and users. So you have a user that makes a claim to the company because of some problem, because they were charged, because of something they didn't buy, or there was some problem with some transfer of money. And the customer service says that they are not going to reimburse the customer. And then the customer, the only thing they can do is, go to small claims court or just express their frustration on social media, saying that the company are scammers or stuff like that. What we did with them is develop a dispute mechanism where after the customer service denies the claim from the customer, they offer him or her the possibility of going to Kleros for a neutral dispute resolution process. And if the customer wins, then the company abides by the ruling. If the customer loses, he can still go to small claims court, so they don't lose any access to justice opportunity. So this has worked extremely well, and now we are replicating this in a number of other fintech companies and also other verticals. So we have already resolved with this particular customer, with Lemon, we have already resolved like 85 cases, which is a lot, by the way. And these are like real cases that happened with real customers and the decision that was done by Kleros was actually like enforced as was planned. So that was a super important thing. And As I was saying, on the one side, we are starting to replicate this same model that we know it works in other fintech companies. In this, it's also very important. Another development that we had from the legal side, that in January last year, Mexico enacted a law which recognizes a number of new developments in this dispute resolution, and one of those developments is decentralized justice. So potentially, Kleros is now legal to use in Mexico. So we are also seeing lots of interest from the Mexican market to these types of implementation. So of course, this is a business to business solution, so it takes time because you have to analyze the customer needs. You have to then analyze if Kleros is a good solution, set up the parameters for making the incentive for the jurors worthwhile for their time. Lots of different things that we always cover, but now this is starting to happen in the sense that people already saw this working, and people want, other companies want this because if your competitor has this system and then customers are happy with it, and you don't have it, then customers will tend to trust your competitor more than you. So this is how we expect, or hope at least, that we can have Kleros start to become like I would say a standard for dispute resolution or for fairness in dispute resolution in this type of company. So that is what we have been doing in fintech. But there are two other important verticals that we are addressing. One of them is insurance. For those who have been following closely, we are working with an insurance company still at the pilot phase, but with very promising results. In disputes that happen between the company and policyholders, you have like a policyholder having a car crash, and then there is some personal injury or there is some damage to the car, and then they make a claim to the company, and the company says, no, we are not going to reimburse you or to pay because XYZ reason. And then this typically ends up in small claims court, or sometimes not small claims because these are a bit more higher value. This is a use case where we are trying to implement this methodology we started implementing with Lemon. So you have the company denying the customer claim, and then offering the customer going to an impartial, neutral third party, which is Kleros, and then the company will abides to implement what Kleros decides. And if the customer doesn't like it, they can still go to court and they don't lose any access to justice, right? And this is where you start to see the different elements of the work we've done from the point of view of research, in the sense that these disputes between the company and the policyholder, they are not like yes or no situations. The decision is about, for example, what should be the right settlement amount for this specific type of injury, following some rules, of course. So jurors need to coordinate their answer in a numerical value sometimes. Sometimes it's on a like ranked choice, but sometimes it's a numerical value, which it might seem simple enough, but it is super complicated to do from the point of view of game theory and from the point of view of how close to the majority answer do you need to be considered coherent or not, and what if you are like 2% away from that point? So should you be rewarded or penalized? So lots of them. I mean, for this to work, this needs to. So the game theory needs to be right. I will let William, who is our master brain of game theory, explain a bit why this is hard to do and what we research to make this work, and then I will continue.
Yeah. I mean, since the early days of Kleros, we've realized that you want to have just be able to have disputes that have just not just binary answers, but sort of more rich information, maybe discrete multiple choice answers. Particularly the sort of numerical answers are very relevant when you want any kind of settlement. I gave a talk about this in DEF CON a few months ago. So if you want like the long version of what I have to say, I encourage you to check out that talk. But the basic sort of gist for numerical answers is that there's a relatively good aggregation mechanism to put people's votes together. The jurors provide you with some kind of information. Ultimately, Kleros is like a crowdsourcing algorithm. You elicit information about the correct resolution of the dispute from the jurors. You put them together somehow. From when like unlike the sort of discrete multiple choice answers where you have questions about how do you aggregate the answers together, for numerical answers there's a sort of natural choice. You can take the median of the numbers jurors provide. But then when you really get into kind of questions and like interesting research directions, is how do you incentivize the jurors? For Kleros 1.0, where you have kind of discrete, mostly yes or no answers, it's fairly straightforward. You either agree with the majority answer, the community answer, or you don't. If you agree, then you're rewarded. If you disagree with the final answer after however many appeals, then you're penalized. If you have a numeric question, like as sort of Federico was getting at, how close do I need to be right? If I'm, off by a decimal place, I'm off by 1%. What is the notion of being right? And how whatever sort of function you use, incentives to you payments and rewards you give to people, what impact does that have on attack resistance? To what degree can attackers kind of cheat the system by having slightly wrong answers? Like when will that cost them money? When will it allow them to nudge the answer off of what the answer should be? So we know a lot of research about this. We have a system we think is more or less ready. There is more research that can be done to have potentially even better systems. So I encourage you to check out some of my previous blogs and talks about this.
Thank you, William. So Kleros 2.0 is intended to be modular. So the Kurt is now launched in a beta version. So this is only for like already community members, and you need to have a special NFT to be able to stake there. It's an Arbitrum, and it's still there might still be some bugs. We haven't seen that many, but we still have some. So this is still a beta. At some point in the future, we are going to do an event that is going to be called the Kleros merge. So this is when we will like merge the Kleros 1.0 with 2.0. So all of the disputes will go to 2.0. This means that the more like higher value cases that now are still being handled by 1.0 will also go to the new version. And well, when is this going to happen? Well, we need still to have like smart contract audits and bounties, because this is there's going to be way more money at stake, and the system needs to be secure so it's not hacked and all the things that you already know. So, and also the Kleros 3.0 version is going to be the long-term one. What's going to happen over time is that we will keep adding new modules that are like plugins in order to have like more decision-making logics. So we will add like, for example, decision making, for example, self-revealing, commitment reveal. So people, we have for a long time a big question people ask, but if you can see other people's votes, then you can just copy what they vote, and then what is the point of the Schelling point? So commitment reveal solves this problem because you cannot see what others vote, but then it's not very cool from a point of view of user experience, because you have to go to vote and then you have to go back to the interface to reveal your vote, which is not great. But in the future, as a number of developments move forward, we will have capabilities to have a vote that self-reveal. So you will have the good user interface of not having to go twice, and also, well, the idea of not seeing others. So more and more features are going to be added over time in the future as they become available, and this will enable, of course, more and more use cases. So I was saying, so vertical one, fintech already working very well, just need to expand this. Vertical two, insurance, this is going to be a very, very big one. It's already starting in Mexico, and then it will become, well, replicate in different insurance verticals and also in other countries. And the third one is governments. So you already know, we have discussed this many times about the historic agreement between Kleros and the Supreme Court of Mendoza in Argentina to start using Kleros as a consultative method for small claims happening in a municipality in Mendoza called Lavalle. So Kleros makes a decision, and this is taken as an opinion by a judge, and the judge can enforce that opinion, or if they think it's not right, they can still have the last word about the ruling. So this is already working in Mendoza. We are still in a piloting phase, but we are also starting to replicate this same logic in other countries or geographies. I cannot say it because of confidentiality stuff, but I think some people already knew it because of jurors. They figured out where it was, but I mean, we cannot disclose it ourselves. So this is super exciting because it's bringing the Kleros protocol to the real world of disputes happening in neighborhoods, happening in consumer, like with your neighbor planted this coconut tree, and then it is getting in your garden, the leaves, and those type of disputes that are part of the everyday insatisfaction of people with life, and they don't have how to solve them. This is starting to become part of the focus of what we want to solve. So these are the three main verticals we have in what we call Kleros Enterprise, and we are also exploring a few others in collaboration with another important company. I cannot say anything for now because it's non-disclosure, but we are also quite bullish on like airlines. If you have ever taken a flight, so you might have at some point problems because of delays, because of your luggage was lost. Well, I don't need to explain because everyone knows about this. So imagine having Kleros. Imagine the company offering their customers going to like a neutral third party to resolve disputes about whether they should reimburse you for that delayed flight and stuff like that. And I mean, and then the company complies with this third party. I would only fly with companies that offer me this service. I mean, I would not touch other companies because this is one of the main insatisfaction when you are traveling by airplane is because it's those things. So, and I get to travel a lot, and I had to wait. So last year I got like delayed my flights. 4 times my flight was delayed more than 1 day. So, and you know what? Do you think I got a compensation? Of course not, because they said no, because it was because of weather reasons. So because when it's because of weather reasons, then you don't get the compensation because that's what the rules say. But I was like, but all of the other flights coming to the airport were not delayed. Why did the weather affect only my flight? I mean, I should be and do you think I got an answer? Of course not. So that is a very, very big source of insatisfaction. And if you have been paying attention, you might have seen, and this is something I noticed lately, that people are, when someone has a complaint, the company, and the company doesn't answer, so what do people do? They go to Twitter and they just write a tweet, hey, these guys are scammers, don't buy from them. So, and what I have seen lately is people, when they notice something like that, they just reply to the tweet saying, okay, but they should have something like Kleros. like in some way, it happens more in Spanish because that is where the lemon use case is, and so that's where people are more aware of this. But you can already see like a Twitter human agents that suggest to companies that they should implement Kleros for resolving the complaints of customers. If you look on Twitter, Kleros, and you will find some. There was one like a few days ago. I mean, it's public, so I can say it. With the Colombian airline Avianca, that there was like some guy who put on Twitter, look, this is my baggage completely destroyed by the company, and then the guy replying on under that say, oh, they should use Kleros. So it's the I guess the narrative is starting to work. So we are looking forward very much to trying to bring this logic to airlines. And one of the use cases we have been following for a long time. At the beginning, it sounded a bit futuristic, but now it's starting to happen. Is content moderation. You maybe saw yesterday Zuckerberg video with explaining what is their new approach to content moderation. If you go back to 2017, the first white paper of Kleros, well, we already wrote that one of the core use cases would be like social media, because so there's lots of disputes happening on social media because they ban your account and you don't think they made the right decision, but you don't have where to go. And you can see how people are like starting to trust more like the community nodes approach, where you don't have like a employee of the company, you don't have like a moderator doing this process over in a black box way. You can do this through crowdsourcing, other users, peer-to-peer decisions on whether some post breaks or not the rules of a platform or of a group. We if you are interested in this, you can watch my talk at HCC 2021, where I speak about how Kleros and free speech interact. And then last year at the Neuchâtel conference on dispute resolution in social media, I explained a bit about the actual use cases and actual experiments we've done in this. This is not a theoretical thing that I believe could work in the future. This is a like actual product that is called Kleros Moderate. That it was a bit on the back burner, but now that this narrative is starting to come, I think it's time to start pushing this again. So let's say this is working for basically now in Telegram groups. There is this bot called Susi, and then let's say someone makes a comment that is breaking the rules because it's aggressive, because it's hate speech, or sometimes because it's spam. Then people can report it, and then this goes to this Kleros trial where other users are going to decide who, I mean, if the flagged content is or not acceptable. So this is something that is working now, and I think this is going to be one of the main topics for 2025. And well, all things regarding true information, trust in information are coming. Now you have seen Vitalik's late posts first about information, info finance and prediction markets, and how to do different ways, different incentives for making better predictions. Which, by the way, I'm reading this book by Daniel Kahneman and Cass Sunstein that is called Noise, about the problems that we have when we make predictions and the biases people have, and lots of different learnings coming from there that you will see those learnings over time in Kleros. But the thing is that prediction markets is one of the examples of new ways to create incentive structures for agents. I don't want to say human because they are not human anymore now, or not only, but also bots coordinate to reach, let's call it the truth, quote unquote. Okay. So that is coming very strongly, and this is something we have been exploring for a long time, and this is something I think that it's going to start getting some traction in the coming months. Okay, I will stop a bit for now, and I will let William maybe give a bit of an overview of the research. Maybe he can tell you a bit also about the Oxford grant, and whatever William thinks is important to mention.
Yeah, so I mean, we've been doing a lot of varied research for how to improve Kleros and take advantage of this new modularity in Kleros V2 over years. A lot of it's coming to fruition. So like the modularity of Kleros 2.0 allows us to sort of add new modules that can add more sophisticated logics to not only how jurors vote and how they're incentivized, which are important ingredients, but also how they're selected, these sort of like side elements, like whether they're penalized if they break certain rules, through having like secondary disputes. If you flag a juror that's broken sort of the juror code of conduct, and you sort of can raise a secondary dispute about whether they should be penalized. So really a lot of different ways that you can incorporate our research ideas into Kleros 2.0. I've been thinking a lot recently about SBTs and how they can be used in the Kleros juror selection process. So this is a question about how you choose which jurors are chosen, bringing in more social information so that you can choose people in part based on what skills they have. You have kind of this like mechanism that combines information about what social tokens people have that attests to their experiences and maybe their qualifications, along with how much PNK they've staked. So that when you put that information together, in order to sort of attack and hijack the system, you should both have to like break Kleros token resistance, and you have like lots of PNK, as well as breaking the social layer. I have a blog article that we had about this like several months ago. I talked about this at ECC. I have another blog article that will be published soon that I'm like editing right now. That goes like really into the weeds about some of the ideas we have to do that. So if you're interested in that, there will be more information soon. As Federico mentioned, we're sponsoring a PhD student at Oxford in the computer science department that will be working on some of these research ideas that also interest one of the professors there. Probably, and it depends a little bit on the interest of the student. The selection process is ongoing, but like our sort of overlapping interest research with that research group seem to really line up on kind of the social choice theory aspects. These questions about what are the appropriate voting systems to aggregate information in a cloud source system like Kleros into a collective outcome, and how does these sort of constraints of shelling points and like crowdsourcing in an attack-rich environment differ from a lot of the social choice and kind of vote aggregation that you might have wanted in political elections. How do you adapt the like decades of research from social choice theory into something that's similar but slightly different for a Kleros application?
Cool. And according to ChatGPT, if you are chosen to do this PhD at Oxford, you could be on your track to win the Nobel Prize in economics. I'm just saying. I mean, I'm not inventing this. And if you ask ChatGPT about that, it will answer that. So just if you want to have I would say a decent shot at the Nobel Prize, I mean, do apply for this Oxford and Kleros PhD support grant, and Jean can share with you the link. And I mean, I cannot promise you will win the Nobel Prize. I mean, I cannot even like promise that you will be accepted because this is a super competitive process. I would definitely, I mean, not be accepted. I'm not good enough at math to be accepted for this, but it's I mean, I would say a once in a lifetime opportunity for someone who wants to do research in game theory, mechanism design, how this interact with the field of law, so and AI, and under the supervision of, I mean, a big luminary like Paul Goldberg. I mean, it's just worth to know him. So yeah, so do apply to that. We already have some candidates, but yeah, if you want, there's still maybe time for you to apply. Okay, one of the other big topics of next year is going to be the interactions between AI and Kleros. So not so we already have discussed many times about whether AI will replace Kleros or not. So we already have explained our thesis that there's going to be like a division of labor or working three main elements of dispute resolution. For more objective and simple disputes, probably AI will solve them in an automated way, which is fine because it's more efficient, it's cheaper, all good. There's disputes that are a bit more complex, still mostly small claims, but a bit more complex in the sense that they need decision makers to understand emotions, to understand the context in which an agreement was made. So this type of disputes are not very likely to be solved only by AI. And then for even more complex disputes involving high value, multiple parties, or some more subjectivity and more like legal interpretation, legal reasoning, that is probably going to be resolved mostly by more traditional dispute resolution methods. So this is our general thesis about how the market is going to evolve. But what we have been doing lately is integrate a bit the use of Kleros with AI tools to ease most of the onboarding process of cases. And this is something we learned while working with Lemon. So you have the user from the platform, they have a dispute with the company and they go to Kleros, and the user is not a lawyer, so he's not very experienced in explaining the case very clearly. So if he maybe writes like 2 or 3 lines, and the answer of the company is done by a team of lawyers. So this kind of tilts the balance in favor of the company. So what we started doing is, what if we use like ChatGPT to improve the customer claim, and then help the customer produce like 1 or 2 pages claim, which is clear, which is articulate. And then we saw over our experience working in this use case that this tended to make more balanced the odds of winning the case. And this was, if you could say that this use case was like having a lawyer bot, because there was a bot that took your case and presented it in a more interesting way, in a more clear way, and increasing your odds of success in the Kleros court, which is basically basically what is going to help you win. So this is what a lawyer does. So we have, that is one of the ways in which AI and Kleros interact. And the second one, which is very important, is there are better and better tools, AI tools, to anonymize cases. So one of the main things about dispute resolution is that sometimes, or in many cases, in most, I would say, people don't want the information of the case go public, in the sense of not being able to identify who is the person who is having the claim with the insurance company or with the fintech company. You don't want your personal information out there. So it used to be a bit hard for us, or was a manual process to like delete and redact all of the information that parties had. So, but now we are starting to use tools, because these tools were developed like really recently, that do that almost in a flawless way. It's almost perfect. So it takes like little time, and this helps. That it really widely expands the type of use cases that become relevant for Kleros, because the cost of the anonymization is near zero. So if you had before like a case worth like $100, and then you had to spend like $80 in anonymizing the case, that was not really very interesting. But if the cost of anonymizing the case is now $1, well, now it's more interesting. And if you, on top of that, you add the Kleros 2.0 deployed on layer 2, which costs almost nothing, and more sophisticated logics for making decisions, for ranked choices and numerical values and all that. So you can start to see how all these start to converge into resolving a number of cases that were not possible before, that are basically possible now. So this is greatly expanding the reach of Kleros, and this is thanks to the use of AI tools that were not there when we started. Okay, maybe I will let Marcos give some business development update if you want.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, so Federico did a very good update of our intro of what we have been working with Kleros Enterprise in 2024. Now I will speak about what we have been doing during 2025. So this week with Kleros Enterprise, this week and the last one, we already have a few updates. The first one is that we have Fortunato, that he's going to join us in the BD team. I think he was here. I think he's here in the call. So he's going to join us in the business development team. Then yesterday we have a Twitter Spaces with Smart Invoice, where we were talking about our integration. They are going to use Kleros for dispute resolution, and they are kind of an escrow for freelancers and employers. Then we have some updates about Kava. We did the second pilot case with them.
I don't know, people. Everyone knows what Kava is because this is in English.
Yeah, well, it's the city of Buenos Aires, where we have been working for a few months. Now the idea was to do a few pilot cases. We already did two, to show them how Kleros works, and after that, maybe we can, though they can use Kleros for in different sites of the city. We still have to work there, so it is not confirmed, that the update is that we created the second pilot case. Then, well, you already mentioned this thing about the country that is. Well, I don't want to go there in detail, because there we cannot speak a lot.
Yeah.
Then we have the KIP 72, that it's a new court to resolve the disputes related to the Oracle. So all disputes coming from Omen are going to be resolved there. And then we have Waymian, that is the head of the business development team. He has been trying to work, or let's say sell what we have been doing in Mendoza, in Singapore. So for the moment, he has been talking with the Singapore International Arbitration Center. Again, we are still doing our first conversations, but it's good to mention this.
Okay, thank you, Marcos. Jean, community updates you want to share? Are you Jean, or are you like the agent?
Yes, I could not clone me yet, but well, maybe you will start seeing more Jeans on the community call.
So, Agent Smith,
Yes. So yes, I think one thing to highlight is that Vitalik gave shout-outs to Kleros for building the ACK aligned technologies. So basically decentralized, defensive, democratic, distributed technologies for verification and of information. And he was basically he was replying to a tweet that I made about Kleros Scout, which is a collection of lists, basically a collection of lists that of contracts, of tokens and domains that we have that rely on Kleros Curate to work. And actually, this will be the focus of Fortunato. So I'm really excited to see how Kleros Scout will grow this year, and how Kleros Curate will grow as well. And yes, I think this is maybe it doesn't get a lot of attention because it usually works in the background. It's, for example, featured on Etherscan, and I believe there's a list of 15 block explorers that are using our lists now, the block explorers based on Etherscan. also our MetaMask extension, Ledger for their mobile app, but this is not very visible. Maybe this year it will become more visible, but so that's why it's important to have Vitalik recognizing that.
Indeed, this is like one of the not sexy Kleros use cases, but that it's actually, been around for a long time. First time was in 2019 when we launched Kleros tokens, which was a mechanism to verify scam tokens and filter them out from a decentralized, we could call it private compliance process. And yeah, now that first idea now turned into this product called Kleros Scout that is being used by some of the big names in the industry like Ledger, MetaMask, and Etherscan. So that's a great thing. That was the thing that was mentioned by Vitalik in the defense. What's the name, Gene? I forgot. InfoFinance, no.
It's like the I don't know how to say, like the philosophy, let's say, or the movement is called DAC. So it's decentralized accelerationism. So the idea is that some technologies should be accelerated faster than others, and these types of defensive technologies generate less risk or even reduce risk for humanity in general or for society. And this is what this is all about. So it's a kind of the similar to this other current of thought called effective accelerationism, which is just pro acceleration in every way possible because that will improve humanity. So it's a kind of a fork of this original current.
I already said this, but I could repeat because the audience changes. So I mean, at some point I said that in the very very early days of Kleros, even before it was Kleros, I was living in Silicon Valley in Mountain View, and I was participating in this educational program at this place called Singularity University, and in that place we had lots of conversations with people from nanotechnology. Like biotechnology, like healthcare, AI. Someday I could even do we can do like a thematic, like a community call where I explain and tell what I learned there. But I was having this discussion with my AI professor, a guy called Neil Jacobstein, about. And this was 2016, basically. So think about. This was way before ChatGPT and before AI became like massive. We were like discussing, okay, how are you going to control an AI mechanism? I mean, AI agent that goes rogue and that threatens to destroy, the world or whatever. And this is a very hard thing to do. And the idea. I was trying to pitch him. Look, you need a decentralized jury that is going to make the call to turn on the kill switch when there is evidence that an AI agent is becoming rogue, and you need to turn it off. Because who should have the switch? Either, I mean, if you are in a centralized platform, you have what they call it, a God King, Gene, that would make the decision of turning it off. But if you don't have a God King and you are like under a Republican government, a Republican digital government, then you need some, let's call it credibly neutral, compliant with the rule of law mechanism to make the decision. And what is better than a jury trial and send an AI to trial and have it, executed, let's say, if it loses the trial. And there is an interview I did with Max Kaiser at the Kaiser Report, I think it was 2016 or 2015, something like that, where I was telling him, what if there is we are in this AI world, and then there is a dispute between two AI bots, and you need to solve this, and you send this to a trial that is going to happen in a virtual world where the decision is going to be done partially by humans, but other jurors may be bots. Maybe why not have an AI agent be a jury in Kleros? So you could have that, and well, this, which sounded, imagine the face of Max Kaiser when I was explaining this to him. That this is all on record. I mean, you can actually watch the interview. Imagine this now 2024, and this is 25 now, and this is happening. So, I mean, I guess we were not wrong. We were just a bit early. But it's
nobody is laughing anymore about this.
Nobody's. I mean, I think they are crying more than laughing now because they're freaking out, because I mean, what was that idea about the kill switch again? Yeah, I mean, so if you read the Coming Wave book of Mustafa Soleiman, this book, he was the founder of DeepMind. So DeepMind, they developed, the AlphaGo machine and the deep learning algorithm, all that. And there is, in one of the sections of the book, he proposes the exact same solution of having like a panel of jurors, resolve cases happening where some AI starts like misbehaving. So this is what now they start calling, AI alignment or AI governance. I mean, the word didn't exist, the AI alignment or AI governance, because it was super early, but it's now all of those ideas are coming back, repackaged, I would say. And this is actually, this is actually at the core of lots of regulations coming about AI and what is considered safe AI or not safe AI, and what should be the oversight boards over some AI. So there is an article I published in November 2023. I was invited as a guest writer by the American Bar Association, and about how can we solve the problem of AI alignment. And Kleros can be a tool for that, in the following sense. Imagine there is this thing of AI having biases, right? And so that is why you always will want to have like eventually appeal to a decision made by an AI done, the decision of the appeal done by humans. But this is super hard to do because the incentives are like against the humans to whom the appeal is done to decide against the AI. Let's say, and this is a real case that happened in the UK. The county of Durham, they invented this AI tool to predict the risk of reoffending of prisoners, and they use this for parole. And if the AI predicted a high chance of reoffending, the guy was denied parole. If it was low, so he was set free. So what happened is that they started seeing that the AI tended to like punish unfairly the people from poor neighborhoods. I mean, they didn't do anything wrong. It's just that because of how the algorithm was trained, they thought there was higher risk. All things equal, higher risk of a guy from a poor neighborhood than from a rich one. And then they started to at the end they had to discontinue the project because of that. But so one question is, okay, but if you have humans that can make a decision if the AI is not correct, then you solve that, right? But it's not that easy, because if you have the AI make a decision, and maybe let's say the human said, oh yeah, the AI says it's high risk, but I spoke to the guy, and the guy seems nice to me, and I think he's not going to reoffend. And let's say you decide to set the guy free, and then the guy 2 months later he commits a crime. Then you're going to be fired from your job, or maybe even some reporters will want to know why you didn't obey the AI decision. So this is the big risk that we have in a world where lots of the decisions are done by some tools that are automated and that we don't really know very well how they work. And in this situation, nobody will want to put their job and reputation at risk by disobeying an AI. So this is what some people call the risk of falling into an algocracy regime. If you can have a panel of jurors that are maybe anonymous and that they don't have to care that much about the reputation, then this might be a better way to correct a lot of biases that come from the AI biases. It's a proposal for now. I'm not sure it's going to work, but this is the in a nutshell what I was proposing in that article I was publishing in the American Bar Association journal.
Federico,
yeah,
we have a request from his name is Levbot. I think he has some background on AI. Maybe we could invite him to
yes,
talk a little bit. 1 second.
Of course.
I'm accepting the request.
Hello. Hi, thank you for this and congratulations on this very good initiative, which you've been doing for long. Let me briefly introduce myself. I'm a professor of AI and blockchain law since many, many years. I'm one of the early comers into Bitcoin since 2010. To be honest, I worked a lot on the decentralized justice system. Even the term was coined by myself, and we discussed this a couple of times with Vitalik. Actually, he loved this also, and I was very happy to see that Kleros is doing this. So I wish you all the luck. It's a very important thing. It's coming definitely, and it's very important in terms of having the decentralized system of dispute resolution. I'm a lawyer for many years. I teach I'm a professor at the New York University, and I teach cyber law there. What I wanted to ask, I also sent you a direct message in X actually to see and to have a call. Why? Because there are exactly what Federico said right now, that there is a system. We have established this system in Madrid. We have a number of offices around the globe, including Dubai, including Miami, etc. Everywhere we have a lot of very, very experienced judges and arbiters and jurors who are dealing with the blockchain arbitration. And also we do AI compliance globally. These companies supported, endorsed by the Vatican, by Microsoft, by IBM, by the Ministry of Innovation of Italy as well. And these tools that we have established there is doing exactly what just Federico said about ascertaining bias, ascertaining risks. Also, as you know, there is a EU Act on the compliance of the AI. And this system is checking not only particular tools without breaching the proprietary rights, but also tools that are connected to it and third parties as well. So basically, having this system and checking your AI tools or any AI tool, starting from ChatGPT to Gemini or Grok or whatever, you can 100% be sure that it has in breach, it has a potential of breach and bias, or it is working properly and the possess no high risk as defined by the EU legislation. So we have integrated a global jurisdiction regulations from California to Singapore, and it basically does these checkups based on every single jurisdiction except of those that are the sanctioned states, of course, and the China as well, because it's a different jurisdiction and it's hard to ascertain something there and do the AI compliance, even though it's the biggest producer of AI patents globally. So I would really love to talk to you guys. A couple of days ago, I also reminded the issue of decentralized justice to Vitalik, and I was glad to see that he endorsed your company and your initiative, and I wish you all the luck, and I think it's very important.
Well, thank you. I mean, we've been in touch with Vitalik for a long time, imagine, and Kleros was born in 2017, and we have discussed with him, I mean, a bunch of times in different conferences. So I'm looking forward to seeing your message and, yeah, continuing the conversation. That sounds really fascinating, and it's very connected to the type of topics I am digging into now. So, yeah, thank you for that comment. And I guess that's it. It's almost 1 hour. I don't know if any of you guys have any question or. Well, otherwise, guys, thank you for coming. Happy New Year, and see you next Wednesday, okay?
Happy New Year, and see you next Wednesday. Bye-bye.
Everybody.
Everyone, thanks.
Bye bye.
Thanks, everyone.